pastors, welcome guests. Tonight, you're going to hear a repeat of a speech I gave a month ago. Hopefully, it'll be a little better. We'll find out from Ward. Raise your hand if you have read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'd say about a third of the people have read this book. This is Robert Kiyosaki's book that was originally published in 1997. Rich Dad, Poor Dad explains some of the techniques that Robert used to amass his fortune in real estate. Robert had essentially two dads. The rich dad had lots of money, lots of power, and he believed in flexibility. The poor dad, which was his father, believed that you should find your niche and then specialize. And that's the way that you would get ahead. Without knowing it, I followed the advice of both dads. But this was 10, 15 years beforehand. I could not follow the advice of my dad because he died when I was 2.5. Let me give you a little background. I graduated in '65 with a BS in double E, and I joined Newport News Shipbuilding. I met my wife, Jean, the next year, and 5 months later, we were married. We had 3 children. We bought our first house in '68, and we bought another property, the townhouse in '75, renting the first property. Now, let's talk about the move to Texas. Tenneco bought Newport News Shipbuilding. I was offered a job to work in Houston in their home office, which I accepted. This picture shows my family in '77, my 3 children. This is my son, Michael, for whom we get this room for free. That saves you about $100 compared to Big D a year. Now, we needed a place to stay in Houston, so we found a house, 5 bedrooms, 2,900 square feet, 3.5 baths, 2-car garage. We could afford monthly payment, but there was just a problem. We didn't have a down payment. So we went to Houston National Bank and said, I have properties in Virginia that are not sold. When they're sold, if you loan me some money, I will pay you back. And believe it or not, they said, how much do you own? I said, 30 grand. I made 25 grand. So that was 20%, 25% more than I made in a year. But they loaned it to me. We bought the house with the bridge loan. Our 2 houses in Virginia sold, paid the loan back. We had great credit. Let's look at the environment. You complain about the inflation of today, but in 1979, the inflation was over 30%, over 13%. Today, they say the high inflation was around 7%. I don't believe it. but that's what they say. Interest rates. Back in the time frame I'm talking about, interest rates stayed above 10%, except when we first moved to Texas. It got up to 18%. I know of one property that was bought for $90,000 that the payment was $1,800 a month. Think about that. And this is my favorite, oil prices. You may know that oil prices fluctuate. And in 1986, oil prices dropped from $40 a barrel to $10 a barrel. Houston was an energy tank. The economy in Houston, a technical term for it sucked. Now, what was my investment philosophy? I created a second job of becoming a real estate agent in '78, a broker in '80. This allowed me, when I bought and sold a house, to get a commission. Everybody likes a commission. The philosophy was we would buy a resident, live in it a little while, then we'd buy another resident in order to get the most favorable mortgage rates. We did this in '77, '79, '81, '82, and '84. We'd buy new properties and foreclosures and convert them to rentals. We buy new properties at foreclosures with partners and convert them to rentals. Now the reason, you can put that down. The reason that we could do this is because from 1980 to '86, I did not pay any federal income tax legally. But the rest of the story, in January '84, I lost my job that I had held for 19 years. They gave me a mere 28 weeks of severance pay. I found another job after 6 weeks. Same pay. I doubled my salary. And that year, I bought 2.5 houses, a new residence. But, you know, stuff happens. In January '84, I lost my job. Now, let me show you the houses that I bought for a residence. And what I can say is that because my income went down drastically, some properties were sold at a profit, some at a loss, some were foreclosed. I gave some of my properties back to the partners, and we kept our residence. The conclusion: one must be cognizant of the investing environment, whether one invests in real estate, the stock market, or something else. What goes up may also come down. Mr. Toast.